No, I'm scrolling down on my computer.
Hey,
Uh-huh.
that's a great
Hey.
start to the podcast.
Oh,
Hey.
God damn it.
We should just always do that. Just always start in the middle of a conversation. In
It's better.
fact,
I like that.
It's better than a canned,
I'm just gonna
Opening.
start. I'm just gonna start have a conversation,
already
and then at just some point, I'm just gonna press the start broadcast button without telling anyone.
it already says live though.
Well,
I mean, hopefully you'll be looking at the screen and realize
before you say something embarrassing.
before you say
Oh, no.
something you wouldn't want to be on the public record. But in that case, we could just stop the recording, and then I could delete the video because that's how the internet works.
That's totally how it works.
Although honestly, I'm not a huge channel, so I don't think anyone would notice.
No, I don't think so.
Hello.
Hi everyone.
We're here.
Hey, it's episode 14 of the ToonamiGAF podcast.
14 and a half.
Or
It's
13 and a half.
Seda, and B-Dubs, the usual trio.
Hello.
Yeah,
It's like a 0.5.
I've
It's
got
not like a...
Well, it would have been a 0.5 until there was a fucking news blowout.
Oh. Oh, okay.
I mean, we're gonna have a
0.75.
full-length episode of just news.
Right.
But I have been getting bored of the canned opening. It's like, hey, here's blah blah blah.
Yep.
Shit.
Mhm.
So I don't do public speaking well, especially prepared public speaking.
So anyway,
Yeah.
I don't think anyone does.
Nope, nobody here does public speaking
No.
except Seda. He had to public speak for like the most important thing of his entire life.
I mean, I'm not only a graduate research assistant, but I am a graduate teaching assistant, so I have done several lectures,
Close enough.
which is public speaking. But
One Punch Man.
hey,
That is
so
it.
B-Dubs and I were right, and you were wrong.
Yes.
I admit I was wrong. I had reasons to think it wouldn't happen.
I still sort of wish Ushio and Tora got picked.
Well, I mean, did Ushio and Tora even show up at all? I know Sentai mentioned that they were working on it
Yeah.
still, which
Apparently
it's not new information.
Apparently, they're still not really
No.
ready with the dub.
Yeah. Oh, who is that?
Serta! Back in the box.
Okay.
Okay. But no, we've got fucking One Punch Man. Holy shit.
So have both of you
Yeah.
seen this?
I have seen One Punch Man.
I have not seen it, but I've read it, so I'm up to date on the
So you've
story.
seen it.
Eh,
You know what happens.
yeah, I know what happens.
Okay.
I mean, it's basically the similar jokes played out in, very... It's... The idea is it's basically similar jokes, but they're so well done that you don't really care.
I mean, it's a joke that never gets old.
No. And it's altered enough that it keeps working.
Right. So, yeah, Toonami went and got the biggest thing they could possibly get at this moment in time.
Well, so One Punch Man, so from my perspective, there are a couple of different shows like that seem to get some maybe not widespread, but wider spread kind of mind share outside of just people who watch anime. Like, most people have probably not heard of Ushio and Tora unless you're a big anime fan, but One Punch Man seems to be just a little bit broader appeal than that. And it seems to be well regarded and well liked, and the tone and what type of show it is seems to fit Toonami like a glove. So it seemed like it was inevitable that it would come at some point, and it is dub premiere
Right.
in a couple of weeks. So
So, first off, the promo for the show, I think, is amazing.
it's
Oh,
90
they did a
seconds.
fantastic
longer
job
one.
on that.
I love the voice they got for him, disregarding the announcement thread, just being like, he doesn't sound dopey enough.
Well, okay. So from what I've gathered,
Bored.
his voice is a little bit different than what he sounds like in Japanese, in terms of the style. But I saw several people in the announcement thread saying, wow, it's different than I expected, but it sounds like it still works and still fits. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, there are
Right.
some people that were saying like it's wrong or whatever. But
I mean,
I guess one thing I should note is that I haven't seen this show, but obviously all that dialogue was basically spliced from one soliloquy that happens probably in the first episode.
Yeah.
I would imagine.
There were maybe a couple of clips, like he mentioned getting.
It's basically all from the first 4 episodes.
But I mean, basically, that whole speech that Saitama gave is basically from one scene. So I don't know how how he'll sound really in other scenes, either in his superhero form, doing his punch, or talking with the other characters. I don't really know. I don't know anything about
let me just give you a little. Basically, the idea is, when you're a kid and you come up with the craziest superhero and he beats everybody very easily with one hit, and that's basically him. And he just finds it incredibly boring. It's like if Marvin the Martian was a superhero, except not suicidal. Like he just can't be he can't be bothered with any of this. He's like, yeah, whatever. There's a fight. I don't care. Maybe I should go help.
So from what I understand, this show is kind of like a comedy / kind of parody, turning like a superhero genre on its head.
Right.
Now, the one thing I don't really know is, like you guys said, the joke doesn't get old, but it's like, okay, there's got to be some twist to it sometime. It's not just every episode he beats a guy in one hit. Like maybe I just don't know how long that lasts. Yeah, there's obviously got to be some construction around that.
One Punch Man actually has kind of a, there's more story and character depth than you might initially think.
Right.
Like, for example, I know there's apparently a character named Genos,
yes.
And I have no idea
genocide.
how he... worth mentioning, I think, that the English voice actor for that guy is like a 17-year-old rookie.
That makes sense.
So it's like, okay, we have no idea how this person's going to sound, but it's fresh blood, and we'll see, I guess.
This seems to be one of Viz's good dubs, so...
Yeah, from what I can tell, it's... honestly, I feel like the voice sort of hit me as odd at first, but then I sort of eased into it.
Now, I don't really know what he sounds like in Japanese, so I'm going, just by raw, this is what I see.
Like, he sounds bored enough.
When I saw him, specifically in the promo, when he says something like, it's pretty boring, actually, and it actually shows him mouthing
flying in the air.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's... I'm doubting that's actually when that might be when he actually says it in the film, or in the show, or maybe just they are mixing scene and voiceover for different spots. They do that in promos sometimes. But it's kind of... To me, it seemed like it fit his face. He looked bored and he sounded bored, so it seems like, to me... Not knowing what he sounded like in Japanese, that it fit. That's just my perspective.
Like, he's always bored, though. He hardly ever gets hyped up about anything because there's nothing for him to get hyped up about.
Yeah, I was just saying the voice seems to fit for me. I understand that it's apparently different, but it seems, from my perspective, to fit.
I haven't seen the Japanese version. I just honestly, I just felt like it was a little deeper than I was expecting, but I still do think it works.
In Japanese, I think he's bored and he sounds kind of dopey, like the kind of voice that just is kind of, you get the image of a guy who's just picking his nose in the middle of something.
Yeah, that fits. I think he actually does that at one point.
And so I think the criticism of maybe some of the criticisms I've seen of the voice are that he has the bored but doesn't have the dopey.
He's not always dopey, though.
I say at this point, we just got to see a little bit more, because all we really have are one...
We've got to see the first full episode.
Right. We have one little soliloquy where he's talking about basically the premise of the show, and then I think the promo had one other line where he's talking about getting dirt in his belt, and that's it. So, I want to see him, in other... I guess you just need to see a little bit more of it to really see, does his voice fit, just to get a better idea of it.
I think we'll have a pretty good idea by the end of the first episode whether or not it's going to work throughout the entire series.
Because you get a good variety in that first episode.
And also, there's it's the promo, which is, like I said before, it's a 90-second promo, which they don't do very often. So maybe that's an indication of how much. And they're airing it at midnight. I know Gundam they put there too, but
I was shocked that they bumped Gundam down.
Yeah,
I thought it seems like Gundam in the name. It's never gonna.
No, but this is a lot bigger than, I mean, Gundam has like the history behind it, but in terms of like the individual shows, this has a much
I
sort
think.
of more hype behind it.
Okay, well, first of all, what I was saying, it just sounds like they're. I don't want to say they're banking on this or anything, but it sounds like they're considering it a high-level acquisition enough that
Yeah.
they put together a 90-second promo for it and they're airing it at midnight. But like what you were saying, Gundam is pretty well known in Western, in the
Right.
United States because it has Gundam Wing was one of the first anime aired on TV here. And it has a history, but the thing is, there are so many different Gundam shows that it's just like, okay, here's a Gundam show. Where One Punch Man certainly sounds very unique and different and new. Where Gundam, yes, it's a new show, but it's not really new.
Right.
So Gundam
it's a
definitely
known
has,
quantity.
yeah, Gundam definitely has the name behind it and some history, and has a little bit of mainstream appeal probably, but One Punch Man seems to be just that more the unique side of things.
Right.
And
Yeah. Honestly, and in the climate of, constant like superhero movies and TV shows and stuff, it's a really good pick for, sort of this day and age, which I think is why it blew up in Japan the way it did too.
I feel like it and My Hero Academia are kind of coming at the superhero thing from the complete opposite sides of the same coin. I mean, not like one, not including like the Batman versus Superman stupid dark shit, but One Punch Man is firmly on the parody side, kind of, and then My Hero Academia is just interested in playing it super straight, but also just like we're fucking superheroes. So yeah.
And now One Punch Man is only 13 episodes, 12 episodes.
Right. All right. Maybe whatever.
But so it's actually now the next ending show. Like we still have more than 13 episodes of Gundam left. So like, it's kind of like Dimension W. It'll be gone before we know it, but hopefully a lot better.
But hopefully, obviously this show will leave more of a lasting impression than.
Yeah, it's going to be better.
Which I constantly forget aired this year.
Yeah.
I forget it's a thing.
Dimension W was this year.
Yep.
I keep forgetting about that show.
Dimension W was a show that exists.
So far that's in the running for worst show of the year.
Yeah,
I mean,
or at least most forgettable.
Pretty easily.
I feel like it loses to Akame ga Kill just barely on the fact that Akame ga Kill is technically worse.
Well, Akame ga Kill.
Dimension W is that.
Akame ga Kill was more offensive. Dimension W was more easily forgotten. I mean, I feel like I'm living in Paradigm City with that show, for crying out loud.
I would like to forget Akame ga Kill. But so what's
also, first of all, just because this topic has kind of been floating around a little bit, does One Punch Man have any like significant female characters? I think I saw one.
Yes,
like,
yes.
But she comes in later.
There's actually a couple of them.
I was just kind of thinking, okay, I don't know, but I was just kind of thinking.
And there are more that don't get covered by the anime.
Yeah, I was just kind of thinking how we have like DBZ, Gundam, which Gundam has, a couple of female characters, but they don't seem to be very good yet, anyway. And then Hunter x Hunter and One Punch Man, like we were just talking about all these male-dominated shows, and just wondering how it fits.
No, yeah.
I mean, I know the Toonami guys talked about that and wanting to do more female-focused shows, but they also have to accept the reality of the kind
That's
of
not coming.
They're showing. And
yeah,
they're not gonna air Slice of Life or.
They just don't have that many on it. I'm sure they would love to, but they just don't have the shows to air.
Yeah, I mean they could go with the Ghost in the Shell Arise.
Are those like normal length episodes, or?
I have no idea. I haven't seen.
Or is there like the OVAs and normal episodes? I don't really even know. Yeah, I don't know.
So, One Punch Man won the GAF vote, at least, best anime of the year last year.
Mm-hmm.
So this is not a show with this is a good show, people. It basically got it got the casual vote and it got enough of the hardcore vote. So
yeah, and also it is a comedy, right? At least large parts of it. And just kind of with any comedy, there's comedies are always going to hit for some people and be a miss for others. So there does seem to be some people that it wasn't the type of comedy for them.
Like
So
I said, that the jokes, the one joke doesn't get old, but obviously some people think it does get old.
Right.
And but the thing is that if you continue watching and enjoy One Punch Man, obviously it didn't get old.
yeah,
And
so
if it did get old, you stopped watching One Punch Man.
Right. Honestly, there's actually a second joke in there that they're sort of making fun of Dragon Ball Z with, but you're not going to see that until much later on.
speaking of that, I know some people mentioned this, but I don't know if it's true. Like one of the enemy boss guys, whatever, sounds a lot like Chris Sabat, and it'd be like, I guess he's supposed to be like a Piccolo joke, but I don't know if Chris Sabat would actually voice in a Viz dub, or I just even if it was just like a bit part.
If it is Chris Sabat, it's a very good sound alike.
Yeah.
And it's clearly and that's clearly the intention.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that if it was Chris Sabat, that'd be kind of a neat, touch.
I feel like Chris Sabat, it does get around.
Like, Viz is based in Texas, right? Or are they California?
No, I'm pretty sure they're Texas. I think most of the dubbing companies are in Texas at this point.
I know Funimation, Aniplex, and Sentai are Texas. I know Bang Zoom is California. And there's probably a few others in California too.
Viz is California.
Viz Viz, I think they use
San Francisco.
Yeah, I think they use they use a lot of Bang Zoom. So Chris Sabat I wouldn't expect him to see in a Viz dub, but in any case, it sounds like Piccolo, and it seems like you said, it's kind of making fun of Dragon Ball Z or whatever in some way.
The monster, his first appearance is just, it's purple Piccolo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it sounds exactly like it. So that's the truth. So, yeah. So One Punch Man is only 13 episodes, which means we do, in fact, get another new show this year.
Yes, when's Gundam supposed to end?
Gundam's current ending date is November 26th, which is Thanksgiving. So, give it two extra weeks because of Labor Day and Thanksgiving.
And they'll basically end right before the holidays.
And that's assuming no Halloween marathon.
And that's also assuming we're not just going to do marathons all through December.
And so it ends so close to the marathons in December that I can't imagine them actually starting a new show to replace Gundam.
Yeah.
Like, maybe they double up on something, or I don't know.
Speaking of One Punch Man's ending, it ends in like early October then, because it's only 13 episodes.
Right.
It ends like a week after Parasite is scheduled to end. So I imagine that the Labor Day marathon is going to have a Parasite episode just so that they end at the same time.
Yeah. I guess. And maybe they'll have One Punch Man act as the rerun show. It seems like it might work. Do you think it work well as a rerun show? I mean, I guess probably anything works well as a rerun show, right?
I might actually watch it in a rerun slot.
Yeah. But also, do we, kind of segueing into another topic here, do we think Samurai Jack then is going to replace One Punch Man, or do we think it's going to come in earlier than that?
I don't think Samurai Jack is till later, isn't? Is it this year?
It's supposed to be this year, but I'm starting to have doubts.
Because I had always just assumed it was.
If it replaces One Punch Man and stays in that midnight slot, it's going to get it's going to lose a bunch of episodes to marathons.
Yeah, it'll basically
even giving it. Even allowing for no Halloween marathon, it's not possible that it ends this year. Even with 10 episodes.
Samurai Jack being a 10-episode, highly anticipated thing, and it'll be like a premiere, not just a dub premiere, obviously, because the show. That seems like the type of show that you would not want that to be interrupted by marathons at all.
And especially in the most marathon-heavy part of the year.
Yeah, so
which is middle of October to end of the year.
So if they air it at 11:30 or heck, maybe 11, what they'll do on marathon nights is start out with Samurai Jack, and
but the reason they do marathon nights
is because
they're saying, hey, nobody's going to be watching.
Yeah,
it's just not going to waste fucking Samurai Jack on marathon night.
I mean, honestly, that's why I thought we were getting it early next year. Just after the new year, they start with Samurai Jack.
I feel like that might be the case.
Maybe.
Because the only marathon we'd have at that point is, I think we get one for Martin Luther King Day and Valentine's Day.
I don't think
no.
they've
Not
never done
MLK?
Martin Luther King
No,
Day.
Okay, well, Valentine's Day then.
Memorial Day was the only day, is the first day in the year
Right.
they give a marathon. So you have 4 full months before
Valentine's Day
then.
just
Yeah.
is not important enough for a marathon.
I guess. All right, so yeah, beginning of the year would be perfect. You know, you'd have the 10 free weeks.
Or maybe they could do like maybe it comes sooner than we expect. Maybe they throw it in.
If they get 11, it could come sooner.
Maybe they throw it in. Maybe they
It
throw
could
it
come
in.
August.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say maybe they could throw in Samurai Jack early August. Maybe it airs 5 episodes, like first half. Maybe breaks at Labor Day and then airs, the second half, the 5.
Right.
And then it'd just be broken up by the one Labor Day marathon, and that would be fine, I think. But
And then the question is, that would necessitate them to get 11 o'clock.
yeah,
Yes.
Then the question becomes, do they keep 11 o'clock? Or is it just kind of some sort of mixed Adult Swim Toonami thing for those 10 weeks?
I think it would just be a mixed thing for those 10 weeks because
I have to
unless you've got
else.
Samurai Jack was going to be like 24 episodes, there's no way they're keeping it that long unless Wooly Cooley's coming right after.
And it's not. It's late 2017
Right.
or late 2018.
Yeah. So even if it does do 11, there's no way they're keeping it unless
There's a
they
lot
have
of-
some,
So
unless they have something of that level.
regarding the schedule going forward, there's also the matter of fact that Attack on Titan Season 2 is coming in spring. And so I think we have to accept that it's probably going to be on Toonami, right?
Yes.
It's a Funimation show, right?
The numbers it got were fantastic.
I mean, they were fantastic when it was new.
Right, yeah. It's
But-
not the
so
sort of show that works.
I
and repeats.
imagine that their Toonami and Funimation, or Toonami is probably looking like, we want to air this as soon as possible.
The only thing
Right.
I could see is, if, it's probably going to be very, very expensive because Funimation wants, Toonami has to be enticing enough to throw money at it to get Funimation to air it there, rather than Funimation
Right.
putting it on their own services. Now, the fact that
I think Attack on Titan
Titans-
definitely benefits from being on TV.
It's a big enough name that it would probably drive more sales if it was on
In fact,
TV.
DeMarco was talking about how, they put a show on, apparently they put a show on Toonami and it does raise the profile of that show.
that's always seemed to be somewhat apparent.
Yeah.
Even looking at Amazon DVD sales, if you look them by rank, when Soul Eater was airing, its DVD and Blu-ray sales went up.
Right.
Right,
Yeah.
because you're capturing an audience that doesn't stream anime.
Right.
Yeah, and it's also I know this is old news now, but when the Evangelion movies aired, they were not necessarily new at that point, but when they
Right.
aired, Blu-ray
DVD
sales
sales shot
went up. So, and this is just going by Amazon, sales rankings.
Right.
So that doesn't tell the full story, but it's that and just what DeMarco says and kind of common sense.
Right.
That's kind of the whole point of Toonami is to kind of, expand the audience past the people who are basically, glued to Anime News Network every day.
Right.
So,
And,
I have no idea if there are any people glued to Anime News Network.
God.
I just get all my anime news from GAF.
but yeah,
Like
I was
most of my news.
just
Yeah.
making a joke, but you know what I mean.
No,
The people
yeah.
who are really in tune with this stuff.
Right. And
So I
mean,
just kind of want to go into a thought experiment of the lineup because we have these things coming soon that so One Punch Man ends in October.
Mhm.
Obviously, if Samurai Jack hits 11, I mean things could be on the table. We could keep the slot, but I don't think so. So I'm gonna.
No.
If it gets 11, I think it's a non-issue. But so One Punch Man ends in October. I don't think they're going to replace it with Samurai Jack because of the aforementioned fucking marathons all the time thing.
Right.
Yeah,
So-
let me go into specifics there. If Samurai Jack replaces One Punch Man, that means it would start October 13th
It
or
would
something.
start October 18th. If it's not no.
Right.
Mid-October. So basically, we don't know if there's a Halloween marathon this year because it's not on
Right, but
Saturday.
even if there wasn't, it
Yeah.
still wouldn't finish this year because of the guaranteed
it would air.
Thanksgiving and because Christmas Eve and New Year's Day are both Saturdays this year.
Yeah, and
There's
it would
no fucking way. Hell, they might not even they might do a marathon on December 17th.
That's
They
a good
might.
point.
So it's literally impossible that Samurai Jack replacing One Punch Man would end this year. I just don't think there's any possible way that it replaces.
Honestly, thinking about it, is there any news on whether or not Attack on Titan's getting a simuldub?
I imagine that would be like what I mean. I think it's probably going to get a simuldub, but although that studio was infamous during the first run for like just barely putting it together for airing.
Right.
You might be asking for trouble there.
Right. But I mean, I'm just thinking if it does, then they'd be able to, like, if they wanted to do the 11 o'clock, they start Jack at the new year and then run it through, and then they can just move it straight over to Attack on Titan, which did get 11:30 when it started.
Right.
I just did a quick count. If Samurai Jack replaces One Punch Man, even if there's not a Halloween marathon,
right,
it would basically be able to air 5 episodes, and then you're at Thanksgiving, and then you have like 5 more episodes that you kind of have to fit between Thanksgiving and Christmas, and it's
impossible.
Right, and that's assuming there's no Halloween marathon, so it's just that'd be kind of odd.
Yeah, and so unless it gets 11. It's not finishing this year, and I don't think that's going to happen.
Or do we think it might air sooner? So I guess I'll bring in that at not this weekend or next weekend, but on July 21st.
San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah, I guess Adult Swim hasn't like officially announced this yet, but like the website went up, and it kind of has all the details. So they don't really have a Toonami panel, but they're doing like a pre-flight.
Right.
I know at Comic-Con last year, the pre-flight Parasite was already known at that point, but
it was supposed to be where it was announced.
Yeah, and they showed a clip from it, and then they kind of did a longer pre-flight with Q&A, and they talked in that case they talked about their favorite English voice actors, and they cosplayed and things like that. So I don't know if we can expect like news at that, but
I think Samurai Jack will be the date will be the news.
Yeah, and there are 2 different Samurai Jack like panels, judging by what the
unless the replacement for One Punch Man is fucking gigantic and they announce it there.
Yeah, that'd be kind of an early announcement, though.
I mean, they've done really early announcements before for like One Piece and Dragon Ball Z.
And Blue Exorcist, oddly enough, it was like I know
we'll get to Blue Exorcist later because I don't think that's going to come.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Well, just way back when, I think Blue Exorcist was like announced in November for a show ending in March. So it was kind of like a weird 3-4 month ahead of time. Anyways, that's always kind of stuck out as one of the odder announcements for me because it's just.
So I mean, if they
really
like if One Punch Man's replacement is like a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, they might announce it at Comic-Con.
Yeah, but anyway, there are 2 different Samurai Jack panels there. From what I can tell, it sounds like one of them is a signing, so I don't know if they're going to have like Phil Lamar there for autographs or something. But one of them is a panel, so at Anime Expo they kind of showed a behind-the-scenes look, which is now on YouTube.
It doesn't really say a whole lot.
Well, I mean, it is kind of nice just to see the perspectives of the creators, but it doesn't actually have much in terms of actual information. But
it's just kind of like, hey, we're still doing this.
Yeah, and so maybe this panel they'll have more concrete news, like here is the key art. I know we've seen a couple key arts, and here are a clip maybe, and here's when it's airing. That'd be obviously the big news, but
right.
I mean, if they don't announce the date at San Diego Comic-Con, it's not coming this year.
Right. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I feel like it might not be coming this year anyway.
I don't think it. I feel like it isn't. It's either getting 11 o'clock or not coming this year.
I always just assumed it was coming, next year. They could start the new year off with it. The timing just works.
Right. And so, basically, if we assume that Samurai Jack is not going to replace One Punch Man, then we have, this kind of spot of 13-ish, not enough for a 13-episode show to finish for the year, but certainly they have to replace that spot.
Right.
And so it's like, what do you do there?
Double up. I mean, there's enough.
If you get another short show like a My Hero Academia for that slot to replace it, then you basically start off the new year with 2 new shows. You start off with Gundam's replacement and Samurai Jack's replacement.
You mean Gundam's replacement and then Samurai Jack?
Or yeah, basically.
Right. Honestly, that might be a little too expensive for that, so maybe they just double up for a couple of weeks.
No, I don't think that's going to happen. I think they
Maybe
have
they
to replace it with something.
I don't know, maybe they pick something a little longer so they don't have to worry about replacing it for a while.
Stardust Crusaders. It's getting it. Viz is working on that dub. They showed a clip from episode 5
of Stardust Crusaders, not the original.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. I think it's
now. Sorry.
We don't know if Viz is going to redub the first two parts.
If the Warner Bros. Dub is even just decent, I don't know. It's just
Viz may not want them to do it because they didn't do it.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's just.
And they may just go. And there's a whole host of other reasons that have been, endlessly debated on in the thread. But I don't know. And then, okay, so assuming you get. So, Samurai Jack is probably going to be replaced by Attack on Titan.
Right.
Maybe. I don't.
Who can tell?
Who the fuck knows?
I mean, now we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, I think.
Yeah, we are. I was thinking about it, but
okay,
I have actually no idea.
In other news that wasn't really expected, this November there's going to be another Intruder mini event, whatever.
Basically,
yes,
Intruder 3. We made up a cool Absolution design, so fuck.
I wonder. I do wonder who's funding it this time, because last time it was the anti-smoking people.
We need an excuse to put Tom in a new Absolution, so fuck it.
So
Yeah,
so Jason had said that the Intruder 2 is the end of the Intruder, but now in November's ratings last year, I don't have hard details.
I believe Intruder 2 was actually very good for their ratings.
Yeah, it was kind of. I remember Jason saying that like Intruder 2, they weren't really doing it for the ratings. That was just like if they got it, it would be a bonus.
Awesome.
And then it turns out, if I remember correctly, it actually did seem to be significantly beneficial for that time of year. So I guess they decided, and I guess probably social media elements mix into this as well, just people talking about it. And I guess they decided it was successful enough that they wanted to do it again. Now, we don't know if it's going to be 7 episodes.
I think it'll be shorter.
Yeah, it'll probably be
like 4.
Shorter than that, though. On his Ask.fm, Jason basically says, this is the question: will Intruder 3 have a bigger budget than Intruder 2, or about the same? And was this planned way before the previous event was in production, or afterwards? And he says Intruder 3 will actually have a smaller budget since it's being split with the Oshi micro series, which we'll talk about in a second. It'll still be about 15 minutes in total length, though. Which is what the other one was.
Longer episodes, but less.
Yeah.
And maybe less intensive.
And yes, we started developing it about a month or two after Intruder 2 finished. So that means
basically they saw the ratings and were like, oh, wait a second.
we should still do this. And so that means they've been developing it since like February or March.
About that.
So now developing it at this stage is probably, like concept and storyboards and things, but
what are we gonna do here?
I know Jason mentioned that he wrote the Intruder 2 and he was on vacation because that was like the only time he could.
How hard is it to write those?
I mean, yeah, it's like not especially creative or different, but it's still just kind of.
It takes time.
Yeah.
I feel like plot-wise, the Intruder 3 probably can't. Like the teaser image was just kind of like Tremors-ish.
Yeah.
I feel like it's not going to be, it'll be the Intruder in name only. It won't literally feature the Intruder.
Well, I should also mention a couple things. First of all, when they first announced the Intruder 2, that was at MomoCon 2014. Not 2015, 2014. So that was like 18 months before it aired, and they actually had some elements in that teaser that were scrapped. They just didn't show up in the actual product because at that point they didn't really know what they were doing yet.
Right.
So this Intruder 3 tease that we saw, it might be meaningless. It might just be a quick animation.
Might just be a cool image.
Like, hey, tremors and little rock pillars that have a shape of a Roman.
But I mean, we can pretty much say, okay, so an Intruder attacks Vindication base and Tom gets in a new Absolution. End of Intruder 3. We're in space again.
And maybe Sarah gets fixed because right now she's been
Screwed up.
Maybe it would be a great time to just fully give Tom a new design.
I don't think we're going to see that, though.
Well, right now he's got a different arm.
Yeah, I think they fix his arm up, but I'm not
Right.
sure they're going to change the design up too much.
I mean, would they really go kind of backwards in Tom design?
But I first of all, like, I don't really care about too much about this intruder storyline. It's kind of just like a neat little side thing, like, to change.
I mean, I don't either, but it's just
well, yeah, it's kind of a nifty little side thing to see, like, the bump change in terms of the location and the small little animations between episodes. So it's kind of a neat thing.
Brilliant!
It's kind of a neat little thing to see, to, get just a different viewpoint at times, and just so it's not just the same different animations over and over again.
It gives you an excuse to watch Christmas marathons for 15 minutes.
It really does.
But I wonder if basically, because I know when they did Intruder 2, they kind of had a bunch of different animators kind of moonlighting, away from their normal jobs to kind of contribute to this, and I wonder if that kind of helped set up, the hierarchy or the structure to do this work, and now maybe they can do it.
Well, we've done it before. Now we can do it way faster.
Yeah,
Right.
now that we kind of know everyone's roles and tasks and what everyone is capable of doing and how much time, we can do another one of these while everyone's kind of familiar with it now, and we can actually get this done in less than a year. That's what it would be.
Yeah.
So
I mean, potentially we could be looking at it, every couple of years now.
I thought, this is crazy, but a total immersion event every, late year.
that seems like it would be a lot of work for.
Yeah. I mean,
that.
maybe every other.
Like, was it like it's like I'm just kind of guessing how much work this is, but I have to imagine that's a lot of work. And is it really worth it for like the boost in ratings that they seem to get one year?
I mean, clearly they thought the boost in ratings was good enough to offset the cost of the. I mean, they had a sponsor, but.
Yeah, I guess it seems.
Unless they found another sponsor immediately. It
seems to have been successful enough that they were worth spending the time and effort and money to do this again. So I guess, what do I know?
I mean, I feel like it's probably not going to be as successful this time because last year was like, holy shit, the Intruder again. That was like 20 years ago, and now it's just like, hey, it's the Intruder again.
That's 1 year ago.
Okay, sure, whatever.
Close enough.
Okay, that's cool, I guess.
Yeah, but maybe it won't be as big a scale, and it's just kind of an excuse to change the Toonami packaging a little bit. Well, that's really
just an excuse to have a cool new Absolution lift off from Vindication Base and we're in space, and the packaging's changed.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really care for the current packaging. It's too monotone. I mean, it's technically cooler than all the previous packaging, but visually, it's like, hey, it's gray.
It's definitely different.
Yeah. I like the space better.
What I would love if the Absolution, like they went back to like we have a row of physical computer monitors that are showing the stuff, but that's probably way too expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, definitely.
So the other news that they had, which I mentioned, was there's going to be a mini-series, like a micro-series, 5 parts, directed by Oshii, known for, of course, Ghost in the Shell. And
I actually had no idea who the fuck that was. So.
Oh,
I did.
blasphemer.
I even knew that. And
even Sata knew.
I'm the idiot here.
That makes me feel terrible.
Well, the only reason why I knew, really, was I think I had, like, known the name, but I didn't recognize it until, like, earlier this year in March. Oshii did an Adult Swim Station ID, which was just kind of like a little 30-second thing. It was kind of just like a message on whaling in a kind of crazy mecha Japanese way.
Right, yeah.
And it was just kind of like a silly little thing. I remember Jason talking about Oshii made this for us. And at that point, I like double checked, like, oh, that's the Ghost in the Shell, creator. So that's a pretty crazy deal.
I forgot to talk about something regarding One Punch Man. Sorry to interrupt you, but the opening theme. The best opening theme of this year is already decided.
One Punch Man?
Yeah.
Too bad we'll only see it once.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes me
you
sad.
will get all Dragon Soul all the time, and you will like it.
Anyways,
back to Oshi.
yeah. Anyways,
Yes.
Basically, Jason has said at this point that we don't know anything about this microseries. We don't even know if it's going to be related to that ID in any way or not. And Oshi is still coming up with it, and it's going to air like I guess in between episodes because it's a microseries, which is like
Right.
kind of like Intruder 2 or way back when like the Clone Wars, the Gendy Clone Wars series
Or the IGPX.
original IGPX, not the
Yeah.
anime. So like these micro episodes that would probably fall in between episodes, and it's 5 parts, and it's airing early next year, but we don't know anything about it, and that's it.
So
If
it's
good
gonna
enough.
it's a
If
thing.
it's good, yeah, and if it's good enough, they might wind up wanting to turn it into an actual series.
Yeah, it's just kind of it's kind of just one of those weird things like Oshi is making a microseries, and that's it.
And we have
Like-
we know
we-
nothing
Marco
about
and-
it.
Like you would
like
never
Marco and
you would
Oshi
never
just
expect
hit it
that to
off.
happen. You would never expect that to happen.
No.
But we
And
don't know
yet it
anything
is.
about it, and it's just kind of this weird like, am I excited for this or not? Like it's
I think it's kind of funny that they gave him the thumbs up before even finding out what it's about.
right.
That's
You
a
know?
very DeMarco thing to do.
Yeah, I know, but it's still very much like, oh wow, I mean, I'd probably do the same thing, but it still sort of speaks to the idea of what they're expecting.
I wonder. I wonder if who came to who to do that. Like, was Oshi like, hey, I want to do this, or did Jason kind of pester him enough? I don't know.
Oh yeah, from the Samurai Jack behind the scenes, apparently it was Gendy and crew who came to Adult Swim with Samurai Jack.
Yeah. Gendy
Because he's
said Gendy said he called like Mike Lazo,
Yeah.
or he called somebody, and Mike Lazo responded and basically said, hey, let's do this.
Because
So
he's been trying to get that done for like a decade now.
he said
and-
he said, quote, like, I have some free time before my next thing, so
Yeah.
I want to finish Samurai Jack.
I have some free time before I have to kill myself for Hotel Transylvania 3.
So I'm going to kill
Yeah.
myself by doing Samurai Jack first.
Right.
But it honestly kind of was like, why didn't you call earlier?
Mhm.
Or was it like not until Toonami's revival was he like,
Well,
oh,
I mean, for a long time, like the rumor has been that Sony was going to let him finish Samurai Jack up, so long as he did, a certain number of movies for them.
and then
and
they
it
just
could-
kind of changed the deal, and it's like,
Yeah.
fuck you,
and so-
you're working on Hotel Transylvania forever.
Yeah, and
And
so
now,
so he goes to Adult Swim.
now this I don't want to overemphasize how much of an effect this actually had, but it probably had some. When Adult Swim Toonami decided to air Samurai Jack
Hmm.
in Toonami, even though at that point it was like at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m.
Right.
That
It probably factored in somehow.
I mean, like the fact that Adult Swim is willing to air a Cartoon Network show that they still had access to, the fact that it, at least in some people's, when it was noted that Samurai Jack is airing on TV again, like people started thinking about, hey, Samurai Jack, it'd be cool if that was finished.
And don't forget Symbionic Titan,
right?
even though they wrote it off.
That was written off. So now if
That pissed me off.
they'd have to do like a spiritual sequel or something. It couldn't be the same show.
They have to like set it up like that B episode, which was clearly just no, I mean I remember that B episode of Samurai Jack, the Alien B episode, which was clearly just Symbionic Titan.
Yeah, no, it was. They even used the same character designs.
I barely remember that, but
Like it was like the prince and princess of like the cute insect world, and their friendly robot go to Aku Earth, and it's like Jack has to save them,
yeah.
and they like even have the same voices.
And the same character designs even. Well,
Really?
at least the guy and the girl do.
Yeah. So I guess we should move on to Fooly Cooly news.
Was there really
Yes, we
much
have.
though?
Well, they confirmed that the
Some.
original character designer and the pillows are coming back.
Mhm.
Which is big.
I think they also said that in English, Carrie Walgren, who is the voice of Haruko, will reprise the role.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that, but I think they said that. And the
Well, I
Japanese
mean-
and the Japanese voice actress is reprising the role too, I believe.
They also mentioned that they are definitely going to air the first series before they air the new one.
Which is totally sensible.
Yeah. I mean, the thing with Fooly Cooly at this point is that I'm still in the phase where it's like, a whole lot of these people you're getting back seem to have been like they're not coming back because they want to make more Fooly Cooly. They're coming back because they're throwing money at them to make more Fooly Cooly.
That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be bad, though.
I mean,
you know,
voice actors are probably glad to do it very much.
Yeah.
You know,
It's just the animation staff.
yeah, I mean, like, voice actors, either English or Japanese, they know that the show is well regarded. And like, hey, if I can reprise a character that people really enjoy my work for, sure, I'm going to do it.
I'm sure the pillows are like, sure.
Yeah.
why not?
But it's
Nobody knows who the fuck we are.
But the writers and creators, that's where it gets a little bit more questionable. Like, did they really want to do a sequel? Or
And like the immediate reaction from like everyone when they announced it was like, why?
and also like
Yeah.
And the answer seems to be because it's a big thing and we're throwing money at things now.
and
Right.
like the original Adult Swim press release talking about like these sequel elements, like what happened to Conti, the robot, and it's like, do people actually care what happened to Conti? It's
Probably
I
not.
mean,
the actual literal story of now. Grex, you've never actually seen Fooly Cooly, right?
I watched like an episode when they aired it
And you,
that
and
first
you had
time.
no idea. And you had no idea what was happening.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not feeling.
The literal story of Fooly Cooly is weird and bizarre, and actually kind of is a little bit hard to wrap your head around.
Yeah.
Like, not you might as well ignore it because it doesn't really make sense and it's not meant to.
Yeah, there's just
Not that far.
It's just that there's a couple of different factions with weird names, and so trying to keep a little bit of track of the rules of the world and these factions is a little bit.
It can get annoying.
But still, the literal story of Fooly Cooly is not really the reason why people like it. It's kind of the I don't want to say innuendo because that's kind of going too
I
far.
mean, in the promo
It's
they
the
made for its
aesthetic.
return, they straight up said, "Hey, it's a puberty analogy."
Yeah, it's a big analogy and a bunch of metaphors and things like that, and weirdly creative. And I remember someone saying that the original creators wanted it to have the energy of a Japanese commercial. Now, Japanese
Right.
commercials, from what I understand, now this is through
Those
the
things are
grapevine,
fucking insane.
they're much shorter than American commercials. They're like 15 seconds long, and so
But
they're
they're
all,
nuts.
so they're usually higher pace, kind of fast speeches. You know,
They've got to be memorable.
they have to be kind of
Yes.
crazy and 15-second crazy, high-paced.
Kind of crazy is a
things.
little underselling it.
Yeah, and Fooly Cooly basically is like, we want that kind of energy only for an episode, a whole episode. So that's
Right.
kind of what they did, and that's why they only wanted it to be 6 episodes, partially because they, you don't want to overdo that too long.
Yeah, they didn't know if they could keep it up.
And so now they're doing twice as long series.
Yeah, so it's just the fact that they're kind of like
Technically 2 seasons, but really.
it's just the fact that they're like one of their original like marketing points was these like literal sequel elements. It's just kind of like, did you even understand why people like this show in the first place? It's not because of the robot Conti being a robot. It's
Yeah.
just,
Those elements aren't important. We want a Fooly
No.
Cooly 2 because it's a big important name.
yeah.
Honestly, I feel like they put that stuff in the original marketing, if only to answer the question of, wait, why are we doing this?
Or or to answer like
How?
now I guess they also answer, now this is old news now obviously, but like, is it a direct sequel or is it kind of just like an unrelated sequel? But apparently it is in the same world with the same characters and maybe like their offspring. I think they said it stars a young
It
girl.
stars the kid.
Yeah.
basically.
Right.
So like it is a direct sequel. It's not just like a different take on Fooly Cooly. So that's important to know. But like, I don't know. It just there's now, I don't want to like shoot it down before it, and not even give it a chance. But I definitely have to be skeptical.
Whereas Samurai Jack, you can see there's a little path where it might turn out not so great. It's probably going to turn out great. With this, it's like, I don't know.
I mean, Fooly Cooly is well regarded.
Right.
Not everyone likes it, but people do like it because it is different and because it is its own thing. And so like, because it's so unique, it's like it kind of stands on its own, and you don't need a sequel. That's kind of the weird part of it.
I feel like the best case scenario is that it's still great, but people are still like, okay, cool. We still didn't need it.
Right.
I mean, honestly, I think whether or not it's any good is going to depend on how many ideas they left on the cutting room floor, and sort of the quality of that stuff. Because if they've got like a notebook full of stuff they never got to use because, it's too short, this would make it too long, it's not going to fit into 6 episodes, then, it could potentially turn out really great. But, If they're just throwing some shit together, then
And now
we're screwed.
and this is supposed to air 2017 or maybe even
Right.
2018. They said
So I mean, they've got enough time to sort it all out. I feel like they've got enough time to work on it that there's not much of an excuse for this not to be any good.
So that's the directly Toonami-related news from Anime Expo. There's a whole bunch of non-directly related news. We
Yes,
touched on
there
it
is.
earlier, but fucking Attack on Titan Season 2 is finally coming in spring of 2017, so April.
Yep.
Is when it will start airing in Japan.
And they still haven't been to the basement.
Even that fucking panel, just Irwin sits down and he's like, I just want
I
to go
want
to
to see
that
what's in
basement.
the basement.
I just want to go to that fucking basement.
I'm gonna. I know we talked about this earlier. I don't know if we were recording at that point, but Attack on Titan Season 2 is probably going to air on Toonami. I don't know if it's going to be like a
It's
simuldub
definitely
thing.
going to end.
So now we've got this
Definitely gonna air.
situation where next year we have to air Attack on Titan Season 2 and Gundam Season 2.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm happy about that, though. I think it's going to depend on how Gundam turns out, whether or not I'm going to want it.
Well, it also just kind of depends on how well it rates, which right now I think Gundam has been doing pretty good. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, I almost, because it got
mean,
bumped down for One Punch Man, I feel like maybe they're saying, we wish it done a little better.
Yeah, it's
Well,
not
no,
like
I think no matter how well it was doing, they're going to bump it down, if only because One Punch Man is a bigger show.
I think they were thinking that. I mean, it may be One Punch Man, but Gundam has the word Gundam in the title.
Well, I mean, it may have the word Gundam in the title, but it's not like a hugely popular version of the series,
I mean, I feel like at this point I don't know that Gundam Season 2 is going to be a get it immediately priority.
It might be, get it when we get it.
Well, whereas Attack on Titan is probably get it as close to the Japanese airing as possible.
Right.
And then don't make the mistake again of airing it in a rerun form at the top of the block.
I mean, that just turned to shit almost immediately.
Like they say so many times, like, let us worry about the ratings, and then they do that.
well, that was kind of the.
I mean, it was a good idea.
I'm not gonna say it was a good idea, but it was like they'd never seen it before, so they didn't really know like how well is this going to take, and it just turns out it didn't.
They didn't
Right.
realize that Attack on Titan gets a lot worse every time you watch it.
Yeah, they didn't know how much replay value it
Well,
had,
I think like I mean I think actually before then Bleach they ended up having to rerun some episodes when they were
Yeah, and it did fine.
and I think it did fine. So that's probably kind of the mindset they were thinking, like, oh well, we can rerun
We'll just replay it.
It'll be good enough, but it wasn't.
Yeah,
At that point, expectations had changed.
Yeah.
right. Like,
And I
Bleach would get
think
away
I think
with
Bleach is one of those shows, like, even though in Japan it's not well regarded, here it kind of became one of those shows that enough people would just watch it, if they caught it on TV.
Out of habit.
Yeah, maybe
Right.
familiar enough with it to not care too much about the story, but they would just watch the episode if they saw it.
Well, it's midnight on Saturday, time for Bleach.
Yeah, where Attack on Titan is one of those things like you're interested in the story, and once you know it, you're not really interested in watching it again. It's just kind of a
Right.
different type of audience. But anyways, yeah, they're never going to do that again. Maybe with like DBZ would be the only thing, but
If they couldn't get like Super for a while.
Yeah,
Right.
but
I mean, honestly, just like when you watch something like Attack on Titan for a second time, like there's no real nuance there for you to sort of look at and like, oh, I didn't notice that the first time because
And
you noticed
the
it.
pacing just gets worse every time.
Right. But I mean, like you noticed everything the first time because it hits you over the head with it. There's no question that you didn't miss anything.
I mean, at this point, they've taken so long to put out Attack on Titan Season 2 that it almost feels like it's not nearly as big as it was when the first season came out.
Well, I mean, no. I mean, at that point, the manga was, almost pulling even with One Piece, which is it's a fucking huge accomplishment.
Right, and then the guy was like, fuck, I have to keep this going forever. And then he did, and then it was bad. And then people were like, oh.
We're never going to get to the basement.
It's never gonna happen. So I still think they're probably looking at it as fuck that we have to get this as close as possible.
Right.
But you know,
You also mentioned that, and I do remember this now, the original Attack on Titan was not very well animated. They had to fix up a lot of stuff for the Blu-ray
Right.
release.
and so run it if you're trying to get it super close, then you run into this situation where you're this studio man, you're playing with fire.
They can't be bothered to, they'll just put it out original. Actually, I think Super is having the same problem.
Right.
Where
But that's
it's
just
like,
Toei being Toei. They don't fucking care.
no, I mean,
It's Dragon Ball. People will watch it. Don't fucking care.
we can't be bothered to give a shit. But, I mean, I do think they have fixed it up for DVD release, though. At least a
Right.
little bit. It does seem like a lot of studios over there right now are seeing less value in the original airing than they are in making sure it's
Well, the
better.
original airing has never been the most valuable thing. It's always been about
Right.
how much physical stuff can you sell.
Right, yeah. It does feel like it's
That's the
sort of
reason
in
why.
the reverse of like US and Japan are sort of reversed in that way.
Well,
Like
actually,
over
it feels like no matter what animation area it is, like U.S. and Japan are both like, in U.S. it's like, are you selling toys? Fuck you.
right. But I mean, it was like that for a while, but it's not like that with everything though. I mean, Cartoon Network did go through that series of, like a couple of years where it was like, if you're not selling toys, we don't care. I mean, that's why Ben 10 got like
I mean, that's
27
especially
different
bad
shows.
with like action stuff, because
Yeah.
it's like, well, why would we air this action show when we could air it just like do it in a weekend comedy show, like Teen
Right.
Titans Go. So say
I
it.
don't-
What?
And you were kind of quiet. I thought you might have left.
No, I just
No.
You just don't care about Attack on Titan.
All right.
yeah,
Bleach
just
is
listen to you
ended.
guys.
I was getting a little scared. So yeah, Attack on Titan. We're probably going to get it next year. Next year, like with
I'm thinking late next year though.
it could be.
If only so they have time to fix up the release.
But then where do you put Gundam? Gundam's not going to be. I know Gundam's not going to be a simuldub. I just don't think Sunrise is going to do that.
No, and I don't think it'd be worth, whoever doing the simuldub to do it anyway.
Right.
I mean, I don't think it's a big enough show to warrant it.
Next
we'll
year
get it
already
when we
only
get it.
has like one new show slot
Right.
because of all the stuff they have to air because they already aired it.
hmm
And that leaves no places for things like Blue Exorcist Season 2, which was confirmed at
Oh,
NAS,
thank
so.
God. I could do without that.
It's a thing, but we're not going to get it because, honestly, is there really... I can't see Toonami guys being like, oh man, a new Blue Exorcist, we gotta air that.
Yeah, the original, I don't think it did well enough to warrant bothering with the sequel, unless
Like,
the
they're gonna
sequel is like massively better.
I think Blue Exorcist at the time was just like Aniplex, in negotiations with Toonami or whatever. Like, what shows that we have are like shonen and that would fit, a Toonami type block. And at that time, that was before Kill la Kill and things like that. And I think even
Right.
before Sword Art Online. So like, hey, here's Blue Exorcist. It's a just a Shonen Jump anime, and we
This
have
guy
it dubbed,
says he wants to punch Satan.
and we have
Yeah.
it dubbed. So do you want it?
Why not?
Like, sure.
It's
Honestly,
big enough.
it might have been part of the SAO deal. Sort of
I
like-
think it's probably more simple than that. I probably think it's just Aniplex had a Toonami show that would fit, and it was dubbed, and it had already
Why
released.
not?
It had already it had already had a Blu-ray release, I think, at that point. And,
Aniplex was just like, how can we get more money out of this?
they're like, hey, we'll sell it to you if you're willing to buy it. And Toonami's like, well, since you don't really have much else, sure, why not? And it does
Yeah.
kind of fit Toonami. It's not the greatest show,
No.
but it's.
It was a tale
We've
of
seen
shows.
worse.
It was
We've seen
kind of
worse
It
shows.
was kind of like an okay generic show that then devolved into
Madness.
with a few actually all right slice of life type episodes in there,
Yeah.
Like
And then
one
it
of the
just
shows
devolved
that was better.
and then it devolved into like madness.
Yeah, like I heard the whispers of the old ones while I was watching with the finale. I was like, yes, I will kill Kennedy.
Put a bomb on a plane and fly it into hell and blow up hell. Blue Exorcist.
I forgot that was an actual thing. Thank you
Yep.
for reminding me. Christ.
Also, they like introduced this new character, which is like the main character's like
Yes.
like stepdad or something or grandpa.
I was like,
I don't even remember. And then like the very next episode, he was the main bad guy, and he was like just introduced. It's just a bunch so crazy.
I'm clearly not actually in the series.
Yeah.
No.
So
Actually-
I don't think Blue Exorcist is ever gonna come. Is the second season is ever coming?
No, especially
Unless it's like, hey, it's 2019 and we have a spot open.
yeah.
We have room again.
Yeah, speaking of Akame ga Kill, because I just remembered, apparently the manga is ending in the exact same way that the anime did.
So yeah, the anime basically had like a rough outline of what the manga ending was.
Yeah. So,
That's
it
Because
seems
they
there was
both
never any
have
hope.
like Emperor gets into giant robot and destroys the city.
Yeah.
Apparently, Leon died in the most recent chapter.
Who?
Furry cat girl.
Oh.
Yellow. The
Yeah.
person who was colored yellow. As opposed to the person who was purple, and the person who was pink,
Yeah.
and the guy who was green, and the blue guy.
And the girl with the armor arm.
And maybe Tatsumi dies in the manga in the ridiculous way.
I mean, they're all gonna. Akame's gonna be the only one who doesn't die. That seems
Anyways,
pretty obvious.
Akame, we really are the kill.
But no, Blue Exorcist is not coming back until like way later because
They
at this point,
desperately need a spot.
they have
So-
no room.
This has been mentioned several times, but there really aren't that many slots right now that shows can fit into because
Right. Hunter x Hunter's
Naruto,
taking
Naruto,
One Piece.
One Piece, and Hunter x Hunter are going to be there for at least 3 years.
right.
And-
Well, no, it's more like Hunter x Hunter is, so it's Naruto and One Piece are there forever,
Yeah.
right.
unless one of them eventually does so bad that they just drop it.
Like
In
Hunter x
which
Hunter
case they
still
would-
has 140 episodes left or whatever.
Right.
In which case, if they dropped one of those two shows, they would probably replace it with Fairy Tail.
Oh God, fucking
You've got to
no.
admit that would be the
No.
obvious choice.
No, it would
Well,
not.
this long-running shonen wasn't doing well enough in the ratings. How about this one?
No, it would not be the obvious
And
choice because
and
it's
then-
even worse.
But at that point, they're just like, fuck, we had to drop a show because of ratings. We can't be picky.
I do think that the guys at Toonami have some semblance of what people consider highly requested and highly,
Yeah.
that are better regarded.
But in a situation where you have
they
to-
kind of knew. I think they kind of knew that Hunter x Hunter seemed to be something that people would appreciate more than Fairy Tail because they've had a couple of chances to place Fairy Tail there,
Yeah.
and they never
But-
did. I know it does have its own. It does seem to have a following.
It has a fun, but something like Hunter x Hunter is a lot bigger.
Yeah.
I think.
No, Hunter x
Yeah.
Hunter is not bigger than Fairy. Look, the fact
Yes.
is, Fairy Tail is definitely bigger than One Piece in the United States. It's definitely bigger than Hunter x Hunter. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. Like Funimation
No.
puts out Blu-rays for Fairy Tail. One Piece gets DVDs only.
Yeah, well, that's because the Fairy Tale guys are crazy. No, but Hunter x Hunter, like, there is a big enough following for that.
On the internet.
Yeah. I mean, people go crazy every time it comes back. Like, absolutely batshit bonkers.
On the internet. Or
Yes.
let me be more specific. On GAF.
Not only on GAF, people all over the friggin'
Look,
place.
Hunter x Hunter definitely gets most of the internet crowd excited, but
Yeah.
Fairy Tail has, gets people who only go on the internet to watch Fairy Tail.
Right, but at the same time, you can still get those guys with Hunter x Hunter, if only because it's better.
Anyways, I think with Toonami,
They have
more
kind of
more
morphed
often,
into a
more often
only
than
the
not,
best, the biggest things now.
more often than not, the shows are going to be more bigger name animes now. So like One Punch
Right.
Man, we knew was coming. I would not be surprised if My Hero Academia, once it's kind of finished its run on like Funimation services, if they basically eventually move it to Toonami, it's kind of like a second breath, if you will,
Right.
to kind of capture a little bit more of an audience. And Toonami, they probably don't care that they didn't get the dub premiere.
No,
They,
of
you know,
course not.
They
if they
probably
can,
don't. They probably don't care that it's about superheroes like that.
yeah. So
Whatever.
I could see that happening, and then like Attack on Titan season 2, they're probably gonna get.
Yeah.
If
Don't forget JoJo.
yeah,
The 50
they air the
Oh,
first season of Gundam. Gundam, like, I know Iron Blooded Orphans. It seems to be one of those shows that isn't maybe not absolutely great, but not as bad as Gundam can be
Right.
at
Oh,
times.
Gundam can be bad.
So, but if it does well enough, they'll air the second season.
Right.
Right. And so, between Attack on Titan and Gundam next year, we have to assume that's one slot taken up for the whole year.
Yeah, and then
Right.
My Hero Academia, it could show up at any time. Maybe they'll wait for the second season to come out first or something. And then I think it's gonna be more of these bigger shows or
I feel like we are
shows
going.
that have some more history with Toonami.
Right.
Maybe like there's that new Escaflowne thing.
That one I
Well,
think
it
they're
doesn't
going to
have
get
history with
eventually.
Toonami, but they wanted it to be on there.
That's one of those shows that kind of has no, it's not the biggest anime and it's not new, but it's one of those things like they said
But they
would
want it.
wanted to
But
air.
if they're replacing Samurai Champloo with One Punch Man, do they have room anymore for
Right.
Visions of Escaflowne? When they could get
Maybe not.
a JoJo?
Maybe not this year, but I mean, if they want it badly enough, then I could see them going, people want JoJo, but this is something we've wanted to do forever.
And
I
the
think-
thing with JoJo is that it's like there's the first 2 seasons, which are
that's-
combined 26 episodes. There's Stardust Crusaders, which is a fucking year. And then there's, Diamond Does Unbreakable, which is, only
Forever.
14 episodes less than Stardust Crusaders. So basically JoJo is like, well, we've got JoJo now. It's on
I
forever.
think the fact that JoJo's first 2 seasons are kind of in this odd state of affairs, like Viz has them, but they're maybe not redubbing.
And the
Are they-
Warner
are they-
dub
are-
is
are they able-
questionable.
Are they able to use
Yeah.
the Warner Bros. Dub? Like,
I don't know.
if Toonami was able to air it, do they have to not only make a negotiation?
I don't know if Viz actually owns the Warner Brothers dub.
Yeah, so that's the thing. I think that's one reason. Not only its length, but just
We're not gonna get
that
it.
type of tape. Like, it makes it just harder to acquire, and maybe Toonami
Right.
kind of.
And they would,
kind of
if they got
decides
JoJo,
it's
they
not
would
worth
go
it.
with Stardust Crusaders first because it's the one being dubbed right now. It's the one that's going to come out soon.
I'm not sure they'd be so big on starting in the middle of a show again because it didn't work out so well for them the last time they tried.
But it's not really starting in the middle because of the part system. It's
Yeah, and also there's a pretty big difference between starting at episode 200 of One Piece and starting at episode like
starting
27.
a show which is essentially it's like, hey, here's an entirely new main cast and this villain that we explain.
Yeah.
They can go back to the first 2 seasons. That's the thing. They could be
If they do air Stardust Crusaders, I'll probably go ahead and watch the first 2 seasons anyway. I've seen part of it.
that would be fine.
Or first season, which is 2 parts.
But I think that also, Stardust Crusaders is a year long, but I don't think they really care. Because he had that, Ask FM answer recently where he was like, so, Anon, if you don't like long-running shonen, maybe this may not be the block for you.
Yeah, and I mean, they're airing Hunter x Hunter, so what's to stop them from airing JoJo in a slot for a year?
Right.
So
honestly, I do think we're not going to get JoJo until Hunter x Hunter's over.
No, that is too long. Sorry.
That's just for you.
I kind of feel like we talk about JoJo a lot. You guys must really like it.
Because
he really likes it.
JoJo is the most requested show. We saw it recently. It's even over One Punch Man. People wanted JoJo.
And yet we got One Punch Man.
Right, because they didn't.
One Punch Man is a little more simple.
Yeah, and there's not as many.
They had to get one before the other.
Yeah, there's not as many legal things to work out with, One Punch Man.
Well, I assume that if Viz has it, the legal things have been worked out.
Well, I mean, apparently.
Viz will change the names if necessary.
Well, I mean, apparently it's not all worked out yet, because I'm not sure they're going to want to jump in on this if they're still fighting over seasons 1 and 2.
But they're dubbing it, and they've confirmed a Blu-ray release. What possible issues could there be?
Hang on.
Oh.
I think we might have exhausted all the things to talk about.
Bleach is ending soon. Within 10 chapters.
The thing is, if like they wanted to make an anime for the final chapters, you feel like the time they have to do it is limited. While there's even some interest in the show, like right now, like right now would be when to start the negotiations of creating a team to animate it. Like if they wait, a year after the manga has been ended and over with, is anyone going to care or want to make an anime? So it's just like I don't know if there's any real urgency for people to like want this, either Japanese or Adult Swim.
I think the people who probably want it most in the world is Adult Swim.
Talking about Bleach now?
Yes.
Yeah, but like I wonder if Jason even is aware that the manga is ending. Like, does he pay that much attention to it, or?
I
or
mean, when he got asked why they canceled Bleach, he probably read up.
Well, he knows that they ran out of episodes, but I doubt he's the type of person, unless he's a huge Bleach fan, which I don't think
I don't think he is. No.
But like, unless he's the type of person to know that it's ending soon, like, who is going to initiate this conversation to
Right.
start to like?
I think at least someone at Adult Swim is probably being like, "Hey, this could be a thing."
They might wait until somebody asks them about it, though.
But the thing is that nobody's ever going to ask them about it. They would have to take the initiative.
The thing is, I think I'm just doubtful of it ever being animated. It feels like it's no one cares, either Japanese fans or English fans.
Right.
And
Honestly,
I mean,
Adult Swim is doing fine without it. It's not like Bleach, as soon as it left, things went to shit or anything.
But that's because they replaced it with fucking Dragon Ball Z.
Right. But I just feel like it's not needed, and like, the effort that it would take is like just
more
higher,
than.
I don't know, like.
It takes more effort than they would get any return.
Yeah.
Because even in Japan, like the manga's fallen down in like the weekly ratings. Like nobody really gives a shit about it over there. Like they
and like
literally
volume sales are kind of tanking, and at this point it really feels like they've said the final arc has been going on for 4 years.
Yeah,
like 4 years ago they said, okay, we're basically canceling your show or your manga, but since you were so big and so important for us for so long, we're gonna let you go out on your terms. And then you spent 4 years, and they're like, okay, no,
you're done.
No, get out.
We've had enough.
Fuck
so,
you.
Yeah,
I think
it does read a lot like they canned it.
So the thing is, what has Adult Swim kind of bankrolled before? They did Big O season 2. Was that 13 episodes or 26?
Yes.
It was only 13, right? There are 2 seasons of 13 episodes, right?
Right.
But the thing is, like, Big O is kind of always like an American audience first thing. Like it wasn't.
Bleach is definitely more popular here than Japan.
Yeah, but like it's a shonen thing though, and Big O was not. And so that's 13 episodes. Now Samurai Jack, which apparently.
Don't forget Space Dandy.
Yeah, apparently they went to that.
Also, Ghost in the Shell.
That's true.
Oh yeah, Ghost in the second gig.
Yes, Toonami did fund part of that.
That's why they own it.
Yeah, that's why they can air it whenever they want.
I just feel like if they're gonna
IGPX is obviously the biggest investment they made. They actually made an original anime with production IG, and that was I highly doubt they're ever gonna do anything like that again, where they actually have like creative control.
Also because they realize that when they have creative control, it doesn't go well.
Yeah, and it's
unless someone comes to them with like the Golden Goose or something,
And then, of course, Fooly Cooly, which apparently Adult Swim has been trying to do something with for a long time.
Yeah.
So I still don't think this is making another 26 episodes of Bleach really something that they're really going to put the effort and time and mind and thought towards. It just
if they're going to put stuff into like Samurai Jack and Fooly Cooly, then they're definitely going to do it. Then they definitely could do it for Bleach, which was so synonymous with Adult Swim.
They could, but at the same time, A, they don't really need it anymore, and B, who knows if the audience is still even there or not,
I feel like the Dragon Ball Z audience is basically the Bleach audience.
Probably.
Maybe.
Anyway. Yeah, I don't know. I still think JoJo's not Dude, you're crazy. JoJo's not waiting until 2019 to come.
It might.
It would be 5 to 7 years old at that point. They're not
Toonami
going
shown
to.
old shows before.
Like the Naruto episodes that are currently airing, I think are from like 2009.
Yeah, seriously.
Right, but that's because it's Naruto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And JoJo is in the cultural zeitgeist right now, and because it looks like David Pro is going to continue animating it, it's going to probably continue to be for a while. But
Yeah.
I do think it is kind of amusing how, like, in different fashions, DBZ, Naruto, and One Piece are all on Adult Swim right now, and are all, like, generally successful. Like, I know One
Right.
Piece and Naruto are at the end of the block, but they for the numbers they pull and like the level of
At the
consistency
time of night, yeah.
and the level of consistency they offer, knowing that they never really have to even touch those.
Think about it.
Yeah, like it's just kind of funny how each one of those were like kind of stunted in their presence here because of other networks. Like DBZ Guy
Right.
was grabbed by Nicktoon, so they had like a cut censored version of it. One Piece, of course, had all the 4Kids stuff, and then Naruto was
yeah.
and then
Disney.
like One Piece was just deprived of oxygen.
Right.
from birth.
And then like Naruto, for some reason, Shippuden and went to Disney, and then it kind of was just pulled there because it was.
Oh, we
not-
got this big name thing. Oh, fuck.
Oh,
not
it's
really.
violent.
This is not really Disney. And then
Fuck.
No,
We still have
they
this, but
didn't-
we're,
I just
but we're
kinda,
Disney,
I kind of find it amusing. Like all those things could, like, you know, in a different universe, be on Toonami and maybe be like much closer to their Japanese counterparts, and maybe even, you know, having bigger or whatever, or maybe even with Super. Who knows? You know, then if it weren't for these other networks just kind of screwing up in various places.
But so B-Dubs, the only reason why they wouldn't show, you know, JoJo very soon is because of the link thing, but I don't think they care.
I could totally
I don't know,
see
they
them.
might.
I can totally see them, like, if they kind of keep an 11:30 to 3 o'clock schedule like they do now. Samurai Jack ends up at midnight at some point, and let's say Gundam ends, and they say, hey, we're just going to put JoJo in this Gundam slot, and it's going to stay there a year. Yes, that'll make the block.
Then what's the Samurai Jack replacement?
Well, I don't know.
Because I can't.
I'm just
Yeah.
guessing.
I think JoJo would definitely be a midnight thing.
I'm just putting it. I don't think so. I think
No.
your love of JoJo is maybe
Clouding your mind.
Like I said,
But-
most requested new show by the Toonami
But
audience.
all I'm saying is, in a hypothetical situation, I can kind of just see them occupying another slot and throwing JoJo in, and they don't really care if, yes, now we're only going to get one new show a year in that one slot. But if they can get steady ratings out of that, that's probably all they care about. And
Right.
yes, to some people, the block might get stale because JoJo would stay there, Hunter would stay there, the other Shonen trio would stay there. But I could see them doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, it could happen.
I mean, I may be overvaluing JoJo, but V-Dubs is definitely overvaluing. You know, we said they won't add. Before Hunter x Hunter, we said, you know, they won't add another long runner, and then they did.
And they did. Yeah.
Because they don't actually care about stuff like that. And honestly, I think they're at the point where they've kind of run through the stable of, you know,
Yeah.
at this point, everything that's not, you know, long runner that they could air is older.
Yeah. I think they are going to start reaching back into the you know, chest at some point to like
There's just not-
dig out old things.
There's just not enough big new anime action stuff coming out.
Yeah.
At this
I
point,
mean,
it's
that
like,
is sort of the problem.
We're airing all of these long runners, but what are we really missing out on?
Yeah. I mean, that's basically what it comes down to. I mean, you don't
Like-
really need more than 1 or 2 new slots a year anyway.
It becomes like, oh no, we're missing out on Fate Zero and Ushio and Tora.
Okay, don't you go talking shit about Ushio and Tora.
I mean, you gotta admit.
That thing was made for Toonami.
It was, and then they had
Like
bigger fish to fry.
literally birthed from the womb for, you know.
Hey man, maybe 2019 when Hunter x Hunter over.
Ah.
I just said Hunter x Hunter over. I can't even speak English anymore, so it's probably time to stop talking.
Yes.
Speaking of Hunter x Hunter, how was that marathon, guys?
I watched the first half of the first episode so I could see the One Punch Man promo on TV.
I
It
did
was
watch
cool on
most of it. I watched the back half of the marathon because I was home.
I'm sure it was good because it's Hunter x Hunter.
It was fine.
It was, yeah. It was a marathon. It's basically like, okay, you can not watch Toonami for a night and go to bed early.
Now, speaking of marathons, I think like when One Punch Man, when we get to Labor Day, which should be the next one, I think One Punch Man will have aired 6 or 7 episodes, so it'd be like kind of a perfect marathon show there.
Or that's probably where you want. That's probably where you air a Gundam marathon.
True.
One of the two.
Yeah.
And then if they do a Halloween one, it's like, are you kidding me? It has to be One Piece.
I mean, I think Gundam's going to be around long enough where they can just air one of those marathons in December. I think they go with the One Piece. The One Punch Man one first.
It doesn't really matter. I was just kind of making a joke, really.
Yeah.
They just do
Not really a
DBZ.
joke, but
Did they just do DBZ on Labor Day? I mean, you could just do DBZ whenever you fucking want, but...
Right.
Yeah, it's not like people are going to skip it.
Anyway, that was all the news that's fit to air.
That was all the news we had.
So next week, later this week, we have the
Next
finale.
week is kind of like...
It's kind of funny to I totally forgot about. We have the finale of Samurai Champloo to watch.
Because
Yes,
we've been like, fuck the finale of Samurai Champloo. The week after has the premiere of One Punch Man and that episode of One Piece.
Yep.
And that episode.
Oh, that episode.
The episode of One Piece where there's some secret involving Brook that I don't know, that is apparently really sad, and I don't know what it is. And apparently it has something to do with something that's like something that I already am familiar with somehow, and I don't know
Hundreds
what it
of
is.
episodes before.
Oh, wait, I have a clue.
Like hundreds of episodes.
Oh, you just... Yeah. So that's going to be a big, big week.
Oh, yes.
I mean... Yeah.
I don't want to be a stand for this, but I think that week also has the first one of the Naruto Kakashi backstory episodes.
Those are actually good, I think.
Yeah,
Well, I'm sure they'll ruin it.
I think they're I would say they're definitely better than what we've been getting, and
That's not saying much.
It's not great, but it's still better than that. Yeah.
Well, like 2 weeks from now, it might be some crazy Cell stuff going down in DBZ.
This part of DBZ is where it gets kind of nuts, where it's like power level, like dilution.
Yeah.
And,
At this point, if
just
you've
too
seen
much.
you've seen DBZ already,
yeah.
and now it's just more of that. So it's just one. Seda was like,
Yeah.
Anyway, that is probably about it for us.
How many people would be listening to this part of this podcast right now? 2?
Zonic.
Yes. He
At
does.
work.
I think.
That's
Yeah.
it.
And C. Kohler listens to these.
I think Jarate listens to them. Jarate listens to them at work too.
Hi, C. Kohler. I really appreciate
Hello.
your opinion
Hi, everyone.
on the thread.
Hi. Hey, you're all cool. That's gonna do it for episode 14 because we've just every time we go to oh man, One Piece guys, it's time to end.
Yes.
So we'll see you next week for the finale and show review of Samurai Champloo. I hope Reggie Ruler can make it, but if not, we'll figure it out. So we'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Yay.
Bye.